guys, I appreciate you guys coming in. You guys have Labor Day weekend coming up.
Yeah.
Captain Earl and Lieutenant Dan.
Couldn't resist.
I couldn't help it.
I'm always careful to say I'm Dan Power, with a lieutenant for St. Johns County.
Yeah. Lieutenant Power.
Yeah, that's all right.
And your voice has a very powerful voice.
Oh, well,
But you guys, how do you guys prepare, Captain? How do you prepare for this weekend? Your entire team going into what could be the busiest weekend of the year.
Yeah, I mean, we've been, I guess, essentially preparing all summer. It's a normal weekend for us going into it. Our struggle is a lot of our employees are going back to school and college. So this time of year, we're always running a little short staff. So the challenges for us is spreading our resources out and protecting as much of the beach as possible. Just looking at weather reports, making sure the guards are in the right place at the right time to be most effective.
And rip currents are a big thing here, Lieutenant. What's the best message we can get out to people that are going to go to the beach this weekend, and how to make your job a little bit easier and keep them safe?
Yeah, I'd say that the number one thing is knowing what the conditions are going to be like before you go, and be prepared for that. Look at our social media, find out what the flag color is for the day, what the conditions are going to be like. And as always, as we said in lifeguarding, is always swim near a lifeguard. Be near that tower so that the guards can go in and assist if needed. And also, too, when you go down there and you're near a lifeguard stand, you can ask them, hey, is there any big rip currents in the area, or that kind of thing. And then, obviously, if you're out in the water and you happen to go swimming not near a lifeguard, and you didn't look at the conditions for the day, you didn't do any of the things that we asked you to do. The biggest thing is remain calm, don't panic, float. Use your flotation if you have it, and swim to the side, one side or the other, and get out of it. Yeah. Wait for help.
Swim parallel to the
and wait
to the
for
shore.
somebody to come get you. Because somebody will call on scene. We are on the shore. We always have people that are watching that.
Chris, now you're the public information officer. Do you send out a notice prior to this weekend, because it is such a busy weekend?
So actually, these guys handle their own social media accounts. So when I took over as public information officer about a year or so ago, I gave the Marine Rescue pages to like their Instagram and Facebook pages to them, and they post daily updates on currents, flag colors, that kind of stuff. Probably ahead of this, because it is Labor Day weekend, we will post some on our fire rescue pages. But for the most part, everything gets kind of the messaging from either these guys in the Marine Rescue or through the St. Johns County beaches pages. We all kind of work hand in hand, especially as busy holiday weekends or incidents are happening. So we try to get the message out as best we can. We also have new lifeguard signs, which I'm sure Cap can talk about, which are really cool. If you want to kind of touch on those real quick.
Yeah, we worked with Beach Services this year and redesigned all the signage for the beach. So on the back of the lifeguard towers, it's more of a consistent message with the flag color. And there's also a chalkboard area at the bottom where we write in the tides and any specific message we want people to know. We started incorporating it the end of last summer, but we have actual rip current signs that we post in front of major rip currents now. Big thing with that is with 41 miles of beach, it's impossible to put them at every single rip current. But if it's one that we've taken the time, there's an A-frame sign, double-sided with rip current information. And then there's about an 8-foot pole with like an orange caution flag on the top. Some people are confused. Where that is where we don't want you to swim. It's directly in front of the rip current, marking the dangerous area. So we've started with some of the major ones. We also add no swimming flags. So by all means, if you see those flags up, do not go in the water right there.
Yeah,
and they're not always where there's guards. So
yeah. Well, and that's not the only spot where there's going to be rip currents.
No.
That's where there's a tendency to be
consistent one that's there day after day. Yeah.
Yeah, it's where there's you've seen through the history of knowing the beach.
I think that's too. It's important to note that those are out there while we're on duty. So after hours, those signs, the A-frame, like Jess was explaining, those are not there after hours.
Yeah.
So if you go to the beach after the guards are
overly
gone,
aware.
yeah, then And that's always a big concern too, is when we have that a lot. Our guards get off the beach at 6. We're on shift till 8, but we're on a on-call basis at that point. So we're not actually on the beach patrolling a lot of times. We have a lot of after-hours calls based on that.
And I think a lot of people don't understand. You guys cover the entire county.
Mhm.
It's not just on the beach. And it seems like this season there's been a lot of activity around the Volano Inlet
Mhm.
area. You guys have had some really, heroic rescues in that area. Why does that area seem to be such a hotbed? And it has been in the past. Too,
Yeah.
but it seems to be a little more active this year for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think the appeal specifically to Porpoise Point is you can drive your vehicle right up to the water's edge. We're one of the few counties that has driving beach access, but the rest of the beach, there's a travel lane that you have to stay within. You have to park on the west side of it. Porpoise Point, you can pull right down. People fish. You can also launch and land watercraft from there. And people don't, I think, realize that it's an active inlet. So on top of all the other hazards, the tidal change causes a lot of our problems. So that rescue the other night was somebody trying to swim across the inlet, wanted to go for a sunset swim,
Oh my!
make it over to the state park, and obviously the tide was going out. Next thing they knew, they were 3/4 of a mile offshore. So,
Wow.
yeah,
So
not
that was he was intentionally trying to make it across.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, which is kind of a common occurrence. It looks really short distance, so a lot of people try it. Luckily, most of the time it's during the day when we're actively there and we catch them before they get too far off. But like Dan said, once we go off shift, it can be quite a bit of time before somebody sees them.
And you guys have, I know you have the jet skis or the Sea-Doos, and you have a marine rescue, but you also handle the river. Pretty much any place where there's water.
Yeah.
215
Square miles.
inland
yeah.
square. I can never say it right. Inland bodies of water.
13 square miles of inland waterways. Yes.
Yes.
A lot of water.
The river there, coastal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always have, even when I'm teaching it, when we're doing the classes, like I have a hard time saying that part. Yeah, we respond to every water-related emergency within St. Johns County, and that's us as Marine Rescue. But also, it's important to remember too that our fire stations also have Marine Rescue training, so they're there to go with us, and we all go to the call together. So we have strategically placed rescue boats or jet skis at different stations around out on the river, along the the seaboard, that kind of thing, so we can all respond to that.
Yep. Now, you two and I go way back. I mean, I consider you guys the OGs of marine rescue.
Everybody hear that?
Yeah, they are I can vouch. They are the OG. What brought you into, and this is for both of you because you're going to have separate answers. Jessica, you've always been an amazing athlete. Dan, you've been an amazing athlete. The physicality of being a lifeguard.
Long time ago.
Remember, he's an OG.
Yeah.
It was when I was an athlete. So that shows how long back we're talking about here. All right. But the physicality, what really drew you to marine rescue over other occupations? Because, I mean,
I think for me personally, I grew up being a competitive surfer. So I was just looking for a way to continue some sort of profession involved in the water. I started lifeguarding. I took the class when I was 15, started working when I was 16, never left. I love enjoying the physical component with the mental aspect, keeping up with the medical, managing people. We get to work where people come on vacation. So down on the beach every day, staying in the water. I try to get in the water every day. It doesn't always happen. I get pulled out for a lot of meetings these days. But yeah, just combining the physical. I think everybody who's grown up in the water, surfing, whatever other sport, it comes naturally to you. You have like an understanding of the waves, and to be able to incorporate that in a profession that helps the public, I think was just kind of I've never really thought about doing anything else.
And Mike who comes in, Mike Davis, who comes in and had a show here many years. I always kid him. I know when he hasn't had his aqua therapy.
Yeah.
You know,
Get grumpy.
when he hasn't had
Like
his
coffee in the morning.
his proper board meeting, which is on the surfboard.
Yeah.
You know, he gets grumpy.
Yeah.
It is his coffee. It is his therapy.
That's how I get hydrated. I don't drink water. I just soak it up
You
in
just
the ocean. Yeah.
absorb it. Absorb it.
I don't drink water either.
Yeah.
That's for another reason.
Yeah.
So Dan, how did you get involved?
It's very similar.
Yeah.
So I was a swimmer in high school, and my swim coach, when it was my senior year, we were finished. And you know the story of this. So my swim coach married the club coach, which was Dave Williams, and Dave Williams is the one that kind of took over lifeguarding in 92-ish, 92, 93. And that was when I was a senior. So she said, Nancy said, I think you'd make a good lifeguard. You should try this out. And I just did it as a summer job for 2 or 3 years. And then there was an opening to be full-time. And I think I went full-time in 96 or 90, I think it was 97 actually. And it was just one of those things where I didn't even know at the time that that's something I wanted to do, but it was a year-round job, and continued on it. And it's just, I love being able, like Jess said, that this is something that I grew up on the water, on the beach my whole life, and continue to do it. And you would just reach a point where it's kind of what you know how to do, and you feel good about it. And I love the water. I'm not a huge fan of beach sand, but
The water's great.
Not anymore. No, I used to, but this is my 33rd summer, I think, lifeguarding.
You're old.
I am.
Can you put those glasses on?
I am. I am not putting my glasses on. No, because every time I do, Chris takes a picture of me. So, I think that was just it. It was just, the right circumstance at the time for me put me into that. I would have never thought to choose that. That was never something that I would even thought of unless somebody had suggested it.
All right. One of the things that bothers me is I don't think lifeguards, when they say first responders, I don't think lifeguards are listed a lot of times in that. And you guys are 100% first responders. One of the impact that happened in my life during my career is your wife was actually on scene at Anastasia State Park when the 2 girls got hit.
Yeah.
I was with Coach Tom in the car, and we were like the second car there. And if you don't believe lifeguards are first responders, you guys have another thing coming. You guys see everything out there. You see car accidents, and all of that. How do you handle? We talked a lot about last time when you guys were in with the mental aspect of that. How do you handle that? Is that therapy of being in the water help that calming, or is it? Because it's a little different, but it's still a lot of that same trauma hits you guys that I don't think a lot of people see.
Yeah. I mean, anything that happens anywhere else in the county can happen on the beach. So we have car accidents. We have cars driving into the water. We have boat fires. We have drownings, obviously. And the big thing is a lot of our new guards, this is their first experience into this world. So they all go through a 96-hour course, and they're emergency medical responders. Most of our drivers are EMTs, and then half of our full-time people are paramedics as well. So we're fully integrated. We're part of the fire department. So they have access to the mental health that's available to the rest of fire rescue with like Elbow Tree. But I think just talking to them, letting them know that their feelings are valid if there's a major call. But yeah, it's definitely something that can leave a lasting impact. Especially drowning calls are not the most fun to be on by any means, but I think a lot of people don't realize that some of these kids, we have a bunch of 18-year-olds. Our oldest guard is 74, I believe now. So we have a wide range of life experiences out there, but just talking to them, mental health used to be kind of a taboo subject to talk about. Same for us, but just, working out. We do, if there's a major incident, we have like an after incident debriefing. We talk to them, make sure everybody knows that they did a good job on the call, talk through anything they want to talk through.
Now you guys have a lot of interaction with the public, probably more so than a lot of other jobs. And when I was at Parks and Rec, it's when you guys made the transition to go to fire rescue, which was by far, I think, the best move then and still now, where you guys are home right now. But a lot of people don't realize that you have a lot of missing children's calls. Like, that's one of the number one calls is kids. People get distracted, and then their kids, because everything looks the same on the beach. How is that? Has that changed now that cell phones are more important, or is that still the number one call?
No, I'd still say it's one of our top calls is the missing person last seen on the beach. And even with, all the technology we have, they don't have that with them. The kids don't. They're not carrying their phone.
No, not
when they go down there. So, and like you said, it's if they're not from there, it's very confusing. I always joke that you got a 50-50 shot of going the right way, north or south, and that was it. We still have a lot of those calls. A lot of times it's just a little kid that just happened to wander. You looked at something down the beach. Remember we used to have the famous paddle tennis tournaments on the beach on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
And that was always one. We always had a ton of missing kids on that weekend because everybody's playing tennis and they were going down there to look at.
They're going to check.
But once they walk out from their family and there's so many people on the beach, it's so easy. It's so easy for them to get distracted, and then they just walk the wrong way.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get kind of bent out of shape with the parents. Well, why weren't you watching your kid? Well, they may have 9 other children that they're taking care of, and certainly it's important to make sure you're paying attention to your children, but they can easily, walk off, and a lot of times they're just right there. They're not even that far away.
Yeah,
it's
and everybody has the same tents.
Yeah.
I think there's like 4 tents each summer that they sell. So it's a red, purple, or blue pop-up tent, or those new sunshades. It's like the U-shaped, and it just flaps. So dispatch will call us, and they're by a blue tent. You look down the beach, and there's
20,
there's several of them. Like, really narrows it down.
I think it's also we're getting we're missing the parents.
Yes.
So we found the child. So the child has either walked up to a lifeguard tower, or a lot of times they'll walk up to another parent with other kids. And we'll get that information. We'll go and meet with the kid, but they're 3 years old. It's very hard for them to communicate. They're probably terrified as well. So it's hard to get information. So we're looking for family members.
To talk to people.
Don't talk to strangers.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why they go to the other kids. They go see other kids. So.
And what the drift, and a lot of people that come from out of state and are here, the drift in the water, I'm assuming that's a factor too. Like, even with the older kids, where they're like, oh, now they look up and they're like, okay, where the heck am I?
We get a lot of calls from that because people on the beach not even relate it to the person swimming or surfing. If they're unfamiliar with the beach, a day with a strong current, they're watching them swim. They see them go under a wave, and then they're gone. So that gets called into us as a drowning, when essentially the person's just drifted out of sight. Yeah. So a lot of people aren't familiar with currents in the water, so that's an educational opportunity for us as well.
All right. Now, you mentioned you are a surfer. I said you were, but you are a surfer. How many people actually get saved by surfers? Like percentage wise, by surfers? Because it happens so much.
There's probably hundreds that we don't even hear about because it's not a big deal to them. They're out in the water already. Somebody struggling, they grab them, bring them to the beach, they go back out surfing. But a lot of times we'll see somebody in the lifeguard tower, we go out to get them, and a surfer will beat us because they see us. A lot of the surfers out there are lifeguards, former lifeguards. Our junior lifeguard program, if you go to the pier on any given day, there's 10 to 15 junior lifeguards out there surfing, and they all know how to do rescues, so they'll come over and help. We guard 11 miles of the 41 miles of beach, so there's probably hundreds over the course of the summer happening.
You're still responsible for the other 41.
We still respond, but they're not. They're not actively guarded.
That's where the majority of the people are. All right. There's been a lot of dredging, a lot of beach renourishment. How has that affected the strategy of your jobs this last couple years?
So they always say it has no impact on rip currents. It 100% does. So last year we were chasing the edge of the dredge project the whole time. So we had a tower at the south edge of it, which was creating a massive rip current. So that tower just moved slightly out of the range. We have aerial images. The boat would stage offshore sometimes because it was so far out the edge of the rip current. It makes the shoreline unstable, so the sandbars are unpredictable. Our tower locations are mostly based on driving access ramps or county parks. But we kind of have to relocate due to the need. So with the dredging project, as the sand shifts, it's a constant adjusting battle. So that's why it's important that people check with us and make sure the tower locations and they're swimming in front of those towers.
Yeah, and once the dredging project is complete, and now we get to northeaster time, and we start having those issues, we're getting a lot of erosion, and that's also, like Jess said, it changes the sandbars. We end up having rips pop up because of that huge surf. Just with Aaron recently, we had all that surf action. All of that beach got eroded. The sand's not all of it, but a lot of sand is off the
It's
beach.
sacrificial sand.
Yeah.
Yes, and that is what it's
somewhere.
for sure. But it changes the bottom, and we end up having a lot of rip currents after. One of the things with hurricanes is they come in, and everybody's worried about the hurricane itself, but really a lot of times the week after the hurricane is one of the most dangerous times for the swimming
In the water. Yeah.
because the ocean's been turned up, and
It's changed.
the surf has come down, so it looks fine to swim. But that's when we have a lot of erosion and we have a lot of rip currents coming to the area. So, after hurricane time, if you're planning on going to the beach, you've been cooped up in the house for 5 days, get out there and find out what the conditions are like first.
Yep. Now I'm gonna admit something I don't think I've ever admitted to any of our Marine rescue. I actually started as a lifeguard and a swimming instructor in DeLand, but I cheated on my test.
Uh-oh.
All right, and here's how I cheated. Here's how I cheated. My swimming instructor, my lifeguard instructor, was a very hairy Italian man, and you know how you have to survive that attack.
Okay.
Okay, and I wasn't in the ocean. I was in the pool. Coach Parisi, sorry about this. I don't know if you're still with us or not. This is 40 years ago. He would go to get after me, and I was a pretty small guy. I'm still not a large human being, but I'm bigger than I was. But he got after me, and he got me pretty good, like on top of my head, and I was like ticked. So I got my arm over his shoulder like you're supposed to, and then I grabbed his armpit hair.
Nice.
And said, "Coach, this can go two ways.
That got him.
We're gonna get to the
That'll get him
side
every time.
That's not cheating.
Yeah.
It's not
You didn't cheat.
That's-
No.
that's
All right,
survival.
you're good.
I
No.
felt like I cheated.
Fight or flight.
Okay, I felt like I cheated, but he did. He whacked me pretty good at the very beginning, so it's kind of on him.
Yeah.
You get what you get.
But no, now I have a clean conscience
Yeah.
of that, so that's not cheating.
No, not
Okay,
cheating.
All right, all right. The medical side of it. So you said how many of your people are
So
paramedics?
everybody is emergency medical responder. And then all of our zone supervisors, for the most part, are EMTs. And then 4 of our 8 full-time are paramedics.
And there's a smattering of people that work for us as well that are going
Yeah.
through fire and already have their paramedic or that kind of thing, or we have a lot of personnel that work for other departments that don't just work for St. Johns County. They work for, Putnam or Volusia or Clay.
We have
so-
4 RNs as well that work for us. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of experience other than what we require.
Yeah,
Like,
from
on
the
beach.
medical side, and I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure people understand like how safe we are with the professionalism that you guys take to the table. A lot of people don't, are never get to give CPR. In your profession, you have to be a higher rate of actually having to give CPR or revive someone higher than probably even a lot of the other fire rescue sides.
If it's been a bad year, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's, is that something that you actually practice? Because you go through the training, like a lot of people like myself would go through the training. I have had to apply it a couple times in my life, which is rare just as a citizen, someone does it. But do you guys have to practice that on a regular basis too, or is it
Yeah.
is it you're already getting the practice in the field?
No, I mean, we
It's
do.
not that often.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, if we're doing our job correctly, hopefully, our job is out there preventing these
Preventing.
emergencies before they happen. But the guards do daily medical training as part of their workday, just like we harp on physical training and medical training. Last year, we created a video along with the training division specifically for drowning resuscitation. So it went from the rescue aspect once we get them on the beach, and then the integration with the ambulance. So that's a video that's available. We play it as part of our recurrent training each year. And it's basically a step-by-step guide. So when this is happening in real life, you take out the having to think about it factor. They've done it so often, it's kind of, comes automatically to them.
Perfect. All right. Is there anything I've left out, Chris? You have, you are the public. I had to
I know, I
make
didn't have
sure
to
I'm
talk
reading
too
it
much. Yeah,
properly.
I like this.
Yeah, public information officer. And we haven't. But is there anything this weekend from the fire rescue side? We covered a lot of the marine rescue that we need to get out there to the public from the fire rescue side also.
I think Labor Day weekend, everybody wants to get out there. They want to grill, hang out with their families. So make sure they're doing some, safe grilling. Keep your grill away from your house. Give us a call if something catches fire. But I think it's basically the same message we put out every 4th of July, every Labor Day. Not too big of a firework issue this Labor Day, but just general safety stuff. The sheriff's office is going to let me for this. Don't drink and drive. Be responsible. Same thing for boating on the water. It's a very, very busy boating time. So, have a sober driver for both those. And just be careful. Go out and enjoy the extra day off and be careful.
But my question for you to kind of end this, we've had a lot of lightning strikes.
Just erase all this over
Yeah.
here.
A lot of lightning strikes. Is there anything we can do as a household? I mean,
So
I know it's called an act of God, but is there anything, anything we can do that can kind of help with that process in case it happens to you?
a lot of people I've been talking to after these house fires we've been having is the neighborhood's been putting in basically lightning rods in their homes, like a grounding system around their homes. We actually had a house up in the Silverleaf area get struck twice. One of it caught fire really good, and then like a week later they got another lightning strike. So a lot of these grounding rods and lightning arrest systems, a lot of surge protectors on your important stuff like your computers, your modems, your TVs, all very important things. And then don't go outside and look for the storm.
I can tell you,
Get inside.
I don't play with lightning.
It's definitely been
Florida boys aren't afraid of a lot of things. Lightning, I don't.
Top of the list.
I do not mess with lightning.
Yeah.
Even over jellyfish.
Man of War.